Hey guys, Dantix here, back with another Wonderlands guide video. Today talking about how you broke me. All I wanted to do was make some guide videos showcasing Wonderlands builds that are fun to take from level 1 up to Chaos level 20, that have something different beyond just the flavor of the meta build that every Wonderlands YouTuber covers, but I constantly see comments like this, over and over and over, and it's getting old. So if you want the boring as hell OP builds, you're gonna get it. Today's video will be showing off the most boring, stupidly overpowered builds that will have you wondering why you keep playing the game at all. They will absolutely burn through Chaos rank 20, and you will absolutely burn through every last bit of serotonin until you're a husk of a loot farming zombie just begging for a blood clot. So if you see anyone in my comments asking about Chaos level 20 in any of my future videos, direct them here and say, hope you don't get a blood clot. Thanks guys. So right now the stinking meta is all about the weapon Liquid Cooling, which basically fires forever as long as you keep critting. You can immediately see how this is completely different to my previous build videos, where it's based off hero combinations and skills, not a meta item, but alas, we are here. I could talk about the ridiculous Buffmeister interaction with this spell shot, but that seems more like a bug than actually intended, so let's continue. We base the whole build around Liquid Cooling and pick a combination of either the Stabomancer, Spore Warden, or Berserker. You pick a primary class based on which of their capstones you'd rather have. In my case, I picked this Spore Warden for its Play the Angles capstone, which gives crits a 35% chance to ricochet once and a 15% chance to ricochet a second time. We'll be critting all the time, so this clears out the field flash fast. However, if you want a nasty boss killer, go for the Stabomancer capstone, which adds extra melee damage on top of your crits, or go for the Berserkers, which can keep you in from the shadows for long periods and reduce the cooldown when it's not available, making you crit all the time. I wanted something at least a little different, so I went with Spore Warden and Stabomancer, but the Berserker and the Stabo seem to be a more common choice. You'll be using the ability from the shadows, which turns you stealth for a period of time depending on your Stabomancer power. While stealth, you always deal critical hits, but they have reduced damage. Naturally, this crazy crit rate procs Play the Angles often, and because Liquid Cooling is a broken weapon, this makes your enemies roll over very quickly from extreme boredom, like Civil War reenactors. If you pick the Berserker, you want to invest in all cold damage related skills and pick up their capstone, investing only down to Contagion in the Stabomancer tree, or if you went Stabo, only picking up the cold skills in Berserker and investing down to Executioner's Blade. But I'm showcasing the Spore Warden and the Stabo for this build, so let's get into the skills you want to grab. First, Eagle Eye gives you gun damage and handling, and since we only use weapons for damage, this makes sense. Next we get Bounty of the Hunt, which reduces our action skill cooldown rate when we kill. We use our action skill often, so why not? Then we max out Bullseye for that sweet 50% gun critical hit chance. We get 30% from Stabomancer's class feat, so together it boosts your chance up quite a bit. Then we need another 5 points to get down to the next tier, so I put 1 point into Medicinal Mushroom. If we do get downed, a Mushroom Buddy might be around to get us back up. Helps more often than not. You can also put 1 point into Spore Cloud so we can taunt and add a bit more damage, but you can opt to leave this one. I max out Wind Runner for extra fire rate and movement speed. Then you can dump a point or two anywhere. Affinity adds ability damage and you seem not to need it, but Play the Angles does do ability damage. If you opt for that approach, Wrath of Nature is a ridiculous skill. It increases damage by 54% against those hit by Ricochet. You could also use Barrage instead of From the Shadows to play on this skill even more, but I opt not to. So put enough points to get down to the 5th tier and put a point into Headhunter for the extra gun damage to critical hit areas, and 3 into Wrath of Nature, the extra point going where you want. Finally, pick up Play the Angles. Over in the Stabomancer tree, we max out Arsenal for the extra gun damage and Potent Poisons for the status effect and duration. Then we put 3 points into Exploit their weakness, so we start doing extra damage to those infected with status effects, stacking with each effect, and thanks to Contagion, they will have plenty. Dump 2 points into Swift Death to increase your damage while moving, and put the remaining 3 into Contagion, which has a chance to spread the status effect around the battlefield, or if the enemy is alone, make a new status effect applied to the current enemy, stacking with Exploit their weakness like mentioned. Keep in mind that Liquid Cooling has a very high chance of applying the frost damage effect. Okay, now we have the skills we need. I won't explain why you don't go for the other skills in these trees because frankly, those still watching just want something powerful and don't really want to bog themselves down in the mundane. Just know that those aren't core skills, and if you like them, get them, but they won't drastically change the build. Not like attributes. Your background should be Village Idiot, as that 8 strength is key. You max out strength as critically hitting is relatively easy without attribute investment for you. This will increase your damage the most. Then we max out wisdom, as we'll be dishing out a lot of status effects which deal a lot of damage over time. Finally, we dump the rest into attunement to have our action skill up more often than not. In terms of power, we need to look for on items, pick Stabbermancer over Spore Warden. We want that sweet crit chance, and from the Shadow's duration increase, even though the Play the Angle's damage increase is nice. Items we want to look for are first and foremost, the pistol, Liquid Cooling. It can roll with a bunch of different stats. Firing more rounds at once is one of the better ones, and rolling a good enchant on it as well, like a class specific one or gun damage increases really helps. You want a secondary weapon for when you run out of ammo or meet something resistant. You want frost damage increases, gun damage increases, and ability cooldown reductions or duration increases. Your rings should boost gun damage. Your armor should boost all damage or gun damage. I don't have a great one here, but it still does the job on Chaos level 20. You can use any Buffmeister as a spell. It buffs your damage output for a duration and can be cast while firing, so you don't need to stop shooting. Your shield is up to you as long as it has an enchant that buffs your damage output. Finally, your amulet should buff frost damage and stabbo power. Straightforward. I'm burning through Chaos level 20 and still have tons of min-maxing to go. I need more Chaos and volatile items, as well as more relevant stats on most items. Doesn't matter though, because this build just needs to run into a fight, activate the Buffmeister in stealth, and shoot things. You'll be critting and ricocheting those shots to all enemies around. Each shot has a chance to apply a status effect and mutate into another, so the whole battlefield will be covered in dots and frosty bullets. You want to be aiming for critical spots on enemies for the Headhunter boost, and you want to keep moving. You aren't super tanky. And that's it really. The other builds are functionally the same. Run in, activate your action skill and spell, and shoot things. I highly recommend putting on a YouTube video at the same time, possibly something more entertaining like a fireplace or rain falling outside a window, or those videos where all they do is eat food silently. Maybe even place a rock on your W key and left mouse button and go make some food. And that's it, the video. Clearly the only reason you want to play a game is to be able to beat its highest level content easily. We should all feel complete. Thank you so much for making it this far, and if you like this video, there's something terribly wrong with you.